There we go. All right, good.
David, just start off, things have wrapped up overall. Pretty happy with how things went?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the best drafts I think we've ever had. The reason I say that is that we go over a lot of players, a lot of if in this round this guy's available, we'll do this. This would be a cutoff. This is a good value for a second round pick. This is a good value for a third round pick, et cetera, et cetera. All I can tell you is every player that we drafted, we spent a lot of time talking about them. For someone that is the, I guess you'd say, the boss of the scouts, or the ones that are out in the field seeing all the games, I thoroughly got to know the players based on them, just talking about them and all that, in the meetings halfway through the year, at the end of the year, and then these last couple of days here in Buffalo. So I guess the best thing you can always say about any draft is you got the players that you wanted to get, and we clearly did that.
Dante Fabro last night, a number of defensemen again today. Is that by design, or is that just the way that it went?
Well, as you know, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had a pretty much clear focus on taking forwards at the high end of the draft, which we did. We really felt coming into this draft that our depth chart for the future was pretty good. The cupboards were pretty full. If anything, we felt we probably needed to start concentrating a little bit more on defense, and we probably accomplished that and maybe even more this year with the amount of defensemen that we took. And it just, some of it was certainly planned, some of it was clearly the player that came up at our pick, but we're extremely happy with everybody that we took this year.
You got the best defenseman in the QMJHL from last season in Samuel Girard, and your first pick today. What do you know about him?
JP Glode, who's our Quebec scout, he's been talking about him all year long, and I mean, in his eyes, he's a first-round pick, not a second-round pick. So I know it's the cliche of all cliches when you say, I can't believe that he was there at pick 47, but you could see him at the table, fingers crossed, not looking up any superstitions that you might have. He thinks he's fabulous. Also, Fabro, and he played at one of the under-18 tournaments, and these guys could, and if you push this down the road a few years, these guys could actually be a dynamic pair in our top four, somewhere down the road, playing in all situations, and really good offensively. So, sometimes you got to be good, but I think you also got to be a bit lucky in this draft, and I think with our second pick, we clearly were.
You guys talk a lot about taking the best player available as your overall strategy. Then a couple weeks ago with us, you alluded to the fact in 2003 there was a specific strategy for defensemen. Do you feel like this was the same?
Approximately like that. Again, we're open-minded to having a balance between the forwards and the defense, but the way it shook down, it really favored the defensemen, and that's okay. I mean, if this replicates in any way, shape, or form the 03 draft, then that would be a grand slam for us.
Obviously, lots of variety in this draft, but it seems the past couple of years, good amount of focus on the Q. It seemed like the scouting's gotten a lot better for the team out of the QMJHL.
Yeah, well, we have a good scout there, and again, you have to realize that it's just where you draft and when the players come up. But again, hopefully, we're just not drafting in a specific area because we like that area. Hopefully, we're drafting because the players are really good.
A lot of undersized players in this draft class, maybe not necessarily for yours, although there was, but just overall. Do you have to kind of is there an extra bit of caution you have to take with those players?
Well, I think I'd agree with probably where you're going is to build a team you need everything, and certainly size is an important characteristic, but I think even more important in this what I call new NHL. I mean, the speed, the skill level trumps just about everything, and so to speak, if you got the skill and you got the speed, you can't catch me. So, physically, that may not be a problem, but it's always a little bit of a balance. I certainly, wouldn't want to have all, 6'4" guys, but on the other hand, I wouldn't want to have a whole team of, smaller guys. So, as we get to this is just a draft. So when you get to the NHL and you're putting together your team, you got to have a little bit of everything.
Do you expect all the draftees to be at the development camp?
Well, I think we got the Russian goaltender. I don't think he's coming. I think they're putting in a call to the player to go out in Sweden to see whether we can get him over. It starts on Sunday, so it's a quick turnaround. Hopefully they can 6 of the 7 of the 8 will be there. I hope that's the case.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Give us an insight as to why you chose the Russian goaltender specifically.
Well, we were determined to take a goaltender in the draft, and the goaltenders that went higher this draft were the ones that we had rated a little bit higher. But we didn't get one of those, so this is the guy that a little bit off the radar. I would probably say that he probably wasn't on too many guys' lists. There's always a story, I think, especially as you get later in the draft, of why we got this guy. And I'm sure there's some players that we drafted late that maybe somebody didn't even have rated, and vice versa. So just a little bit of knowledge, and sometimes there's an injury involved where a guy didn't play, and then he gets back in the lineup, and scouts weren't there to see that, but we were there for that situation and that type of thing. So this guy's a little bit off the radar, but we've got good intel on him.